So hello all. So in yesterday's session, we worked on parameters. So parameters are used to provide the user inputs so that can user enter different values when executing the program. Okay. So for parameters, we can enter only single value as input. It won't accept multiple values as input. It can accept only single value as input, right? What are the other options available in parameter? You have obligatory to make the
Default,
parameter mandatory. Okay.
default.
Default keyword, that is to provide some default values, right?
Obligatory.
Obligatory is to make that parameter mandatory.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that user cannot execute the program without providing any value.
Obligatory values.
Okay, so today we'll see control statements. Control statements in ABAP. So what are these control statements? So control
Con-
statements are used to control the flow,
Control the program.
conditional flow of the program. So to control the program flow, we use these control statements. For example, if you want to execute a specific functionality based on a condition, right? For example, there is a variable called city. If city equal to Hyderabad, I want to execute specific functionality. If city equal to Chennai, I want to execute separate functionality, a different functionality, right? So depends on the city value, I'm going to execute that functionality. To do this, we need to use a control statement so that we can use a condition, right? And we can make the program execute by different conditions, right? So these control statements are used to control the flow of the program. Okay. So by using control statements, we can execute the code or the functionality by conditions. Okay. So what are the different control statements available in a ABAP? First one is if statement. If the syntax of the if statement is like this: if condition and it close with the ENDIF. It closes with ENDIF. In between if and ENDIF, we provide we have else if. I'll explain what is if, what is the difference between else if and else if. Else if condition, else if condition, for example n, condition n, if condition 1, if condition 2, and else if condition n. Like that you can, why I'm using n here, you can add multiple else if conditions. Okay, and then else, no condition for else part, right? If condition 1 is true, the functionality whatever you are going to mention here will execute. If condition true, that is in else if condition 2 we maintain in the else if that is true, this functionality 2 will execute. If it is 3, functionality 3 will execute. Let's say all the above conditions are false, not true. Then what will happen? Else will execute. When else part will execute? When all the if and else if conditions are false, then else part will execute some functionality n. Okay. Here if you observe, even though we have multiple conditions at a time, only one true condition will be executed. It won't execute multiple true conditions. Only one true condition will execute and come out of the if statement. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Condition will be like this. Yeah, I'll show you in the program. Okay. So if condition and the relevant functionality. So when we use else if we need to use one more condition, one more true condition, then we use else if. If you want to add one more condition, if you add else if can be multiple, depends on the multiple conditions. Okay. And if all the above conditions are failed, then which will execute?
Spot.
Else part.
Else.
Yes.
That's good part.
This else will execute if all the above conditions are failed. Okay, they are not true, then else will execute. Okay. So always please remember, we should not use multiple true conditions. We should not use multiple true conditions. When you are implementing the if statement, make sure you are not using multiple true statements like this. In the first statement, you are checking A equal to B in the if statement. In the else part, don't use condition like this, B equal to A, because both are same, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So don't use two true statements. Okay. Even if you use conditions like this, what will happen? It will execute the first true statement and come out of the that condition if statement. Okay. It won't execute two times, but make sure to have only one true statement. Okay. For example, like this, A equal to, this is the condition. What I am using here is the condition. In place of condition, I am going to use this. A equal to 1. If A equal to 1, execute something. If A equal to 2, if A equal to 2, execute different functionality. If A equal to 3, execute different functionality. So when else part will execute when A is not equal to 1 or 2 or 3, then else part will execute. Okay, other than 1, 2, 3, any other value else part will execute. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
For example, when A equal to 5, else part will execute. Okay. So let's create a program on if statement. We have a few other control statements. We'll work one by one. And we are talking about the condition, right? So in the conditions, you can use equal to check the value. If variable name equal to some value or equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to, this is not equal to.
And
Okay, so you can
and
use
option.
all these operators to check the condition, not only equal to.
And operator.
Okay, you can use greater
And
than,
operator.
less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and not equal to as well. Okay, for example, if lv underscore value is greater than 1000, do something, right? So you have to use conditions like that. So you can use all these operators. Now create a program, and there is some issue in this server. Okay, so what is a transaction code to create the program?
SC38.
Yes, C30.
Let's create a program. The demo. It is slow for some reason today. So we'll use one parameter. For that, I am just designing the screen. Anyway, it is optional. Selection screen, begin of block B1 with frame. You can also use title. end of block B1. Inside this, I'm going to define a parameter p underscore value type. I'll take it as integer. Okay. You can take any data type, depends on the value. Okay. Depends on the parameter. You can also use packed decimal, date, time as well. Now, so user is going to enter a value. Now depends on the value. I want to do something. I want to execute some functionality. Depends on the value. Okay. How to execute the functionality? For example, if user enters the value 10, I wanted to display, that's a small value. I wanted to display that. If user enters value 100, I want to display medium value. If user enters 1000, I want to display higher value. But how can we, for example, what is the statement to display the output? We
Right.
can we can simply use
CDMO.
write statement or CL9 output. Let me use write statement. Right. So here I'm able to display only small value, or if you add one more statement, now when you execute the program, you don't have control on this functionality, right? When you execute the program, all three will execute, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All three will execute one by one. If you execute it, let me enter some value, 10, but all three statements are executing because there is no control. There is no control on this functionality, right? For example, if there is any other value, I want to print unknown value. So how to control this functionality depends on the value. I want to execute a specific output. So how to control it? Using
Using if
if
statement.
statement. If, what is the parameter? P underscore value equal to 10. Since it is the integer, you don't need to use double quotes like this. If parameter is the character type, you should use the single quotes to compare the value. Okay. If p underscore value equal to 10, then print a small value. So how to add one more condition?
Else if
Else if
Else.
p underscore value equal to 100. Please remember, you can also use greater than, less than symbols. Okay. We'll see that in one more example. Then other condition, when we need to print high value, when it is 1000. Okay. High value. If it is any other value other than 10, 100 and 1000, else. Other than 10, 100 and 1000, what should print? Unknown value.
unknown.
Non-value.
ENDIF. Right.
Yes, sir.
So else parts can be multiple. It depends on the multiple conditions. You can add one more else if statement. Okay. So if you observe here, you should not use multiple true statements in if and else if. Okay, like this. P underscore value 100, P underscore value 100. You are using two duplicate statements, right? Then the first available condition will execute and it will come out. Okay, even if you have added duplicate conditions. Okay.
Sorry, your
Sorry to interrupt you. Can't listen your voice, sir.
If all the above conditions are failed, which will execute?
Unknown value.
else.
Else.
Or whatever the condition we have in else will execute. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, these control statements will be only used for selection screens, sir, or that can be
No,
also
no.
used in the internal table.
Yeah, you can use it on variables and work areas.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, but for variables and work area, there will be only one. For work area, there will be only one record, no, sir.
One record. Yeah, you can check at a time. You can check it on only one value, one record value. So to check condition for multiple records, you need to keep this if statement inside the loop.
Okay, okay,
We are going to check records one by one.
okay.
So you can check whether there are any records in the internal table or not. That you can check using if statement, but you cannot check values of the individual records using if statement. You need to loop it, and inside the loop you can check records one by one using work area value. Okay, we'll see that in other programs. So here we are using equal to, right? Instead of equal to, you can also use greater than, less than. For example, if p underscore value is less than or equal to 10, then print a small value. Else if it is less than or equal to 100, tell me, is it a duplicate statement or not?
Yes, sir. For example, if you take
No,
9 number,
Hmm.
no,
For
sir.
example, if you enter
then
9,
both 10
both
and
statements are
100.
true, right? 10 means less than or equal to 10 means 1 to
9,
10.
10.
Less than or equal to. I'm not only using
Equal to,
less
yes, sir.
than.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Then this condition
1
1
to
to
100.
100.
9 to
So
10.
both are true, right? When you enter values up to 9,
9. Yes, sir.
Yes.
right? So these kind of statements we should avoid. Okay.
Sir, can we use AND operator?
So what is it?
AND operator.
Yeah, yeah.
That
I'll
means
explain
P.
that. I'll explain that.
Oh,
Okay. I'll explain. So in these conditions, what you need to do? So we have to use one more condition or one more AND operator. And if value is less than or equal to 100 and
Greater than or equal to 11.
yes, greater than or equal to 11. Now it is between 1 to 9 and this one
11 to 99.
yes
11 to 100.
11 to 100.
11 to 100. So by using and by using and you can add one more condition to make it a true statement or to make it a unique statement. Now both are not duplicate statements, right? And what about the this one? Greater than or equal to 100. Yeah, greater than or equal to 100. Since we are not using one more condition, this is fine, right? Now 100 to some n value. We are not defining any higher limit. Okay. Any value greater than or equal to 100. Now I think 100 will come
Sir,
here, right?
100 will come there, sir.
We need to remove equal to. We need to use just greater than. That means from 101. 101 to some n values. So this condition will execute. Okay. Now when the else statement will be execute?
When none of the condition are true.
Now when none of the condition is true.
I think other than integer.
If there is no value at all, right?
Okay.
If there is no value, then this statement will work. Let's execute. I'm not entering any value. Oh, looks like it is taking as 0. It is taking, if you don't enter anything, it is taking as 0 and considering this statement less than or equal to 10 and executing this.
Yes,
Okay?
sir. It is integer now, sir. So it will take 0
Yeah,
and
yeah, 0.
negative
Yes,
also.
yes, yes. Let's try negative value.
I think it will also give small, sir.
Right. Yeah, it is giving small. So anything which is less than or equal to 10, it is executing. So there is no chance of else statement here.
Statement.
But always make sure there is a else part. If all the above alternatives are failed, what is the alternative functionality you want to execute, or you want to display any error message about the failure of all the conditions?
Conditions.
Okay,
Sir, here in else if we have added two conditions, no, sir.
right. Mm.
Uh, so can we like instead of giving else if is if we should give like if and the condition and at last else
Mm.
so that we can have two conditions in one statement.
Yes, you can use it. So else if is optional. So if you want to add multiple conditions, then only we need to have a else if. You can simply use this condition if and else if. Sorry, if and else.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So else if is else if and else both are optional. Okay. Whenever you need to have multiple conditions, you are going to use else if. And if all the above conditions are failed, then we are going to use that alternative logic in else part. Okay. Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So how to apply this on work area? Simply instead of parameter name, use work area name. For example, some salary field like this, and you can check the conditions. Okay, clear?
Sir, but in a work area, there will be only one record, no, sir.
Huh.
For one record, we'll have only like one condition, no, sir.
Yes, correct. For example, if you want to validate 1000 employees, you are going to validate it by one, record by record. You are not going to validate all the records at once. If you want to process employee salary, you are not going to process all employee salary in single processing. In the loop, we are going to loop all the 1000 records, and inside the loop, we are going to check all these conditions. First time, first employee condition. Second time, second employee condition, like that. Right? That's what. We don't process internal table records directly. We use work area to
Yeah,
process
yeah.
internal table records. First, we move record to the work area and we apply conditions or we check the conditions of that values. Okay.
Yes, sir.
For that, we use a loop statement. Inside the loop, for example, loop at it underscore emp data into what we use here, work area
Work
name,
area.
and
And look,
end loop. So within the loop and end loop, you are going to execute this. So every time a new employee salary will be populated to this and we check all the conditions. Okay.
yes, sir.
I'm removing this for now. So we are going to work on this different loop and if statement combination in the after a few days. Okay. So for now I'm removing this. So you can use parameters, you can use variables, you can use work areas to check these conditions. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The next one is this is if statement.
Sir,
Yes.
can we use nested if condition?
Yeah, we can use when we are working on the programs, right? I'll show you. We definitely use. Don't worry about all of them now. First, understand the basic things. So case statement. So we have another control statement, that is a case statement. So case statement is also control the flow of the program using different conditions. But what is the difference? So case statement will take only exact value equal to, it cannot compare greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Always it will check for equal to. Okay. The syntax of the case statement is case variable, parameter, or work area, and when condition or when value. Like that, you can use multiple conditions. And when all the above are false, when other or others, I think, and end case. Okay, and here in between we execute the functionality. Okay, so what is the difference? If in if statement you can check greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, these kind of combinations, but in a case statement it is always equal to. Okay, when all the above conditions are failed, when here we set the condition using sorry, I should not use functionality here. Okay, when all the above conditions are failed, which one will execute? When others.
That's
When others is similar to else in if statement. Okay, but here it is always equal to. The example, for example, when we use if statement and when we use case statement, when you need to compare the values, what is the suitable statement? When you need to compare the values,
If statement.
if statement, because value is not fixed, right? 10,
yes,
20,
sir.
30 values can be changing day by day, right? For
Yes,
example, you are checking a gold price here. You are checking gold price here. Is it constant every day?
No, sir.
No, right? So it can be less than, greater than. It can be there can be many changes. So in such kind of scenarios, you cannot use equal to, right? So there we may need to use greater than, less than or equal to, these kind of combinations. But when can we use case statement? For example, if I want to execute a functionality depends on the city, right? We can use a case statement. Can we say city is greater than Hyderabad?
sir.
No, right?
No, sir.
Chennai is greater than Hyderabad. Hyderabad is less than Chennai. We cannot check conditions like that, right? We can compare condition like 10 is greater than 20, or sorry, 10 is less than 20. That statement makes sense, right?
Sir.
But
Yes, sir.
Hyderabad greater than Chennai. We cannot compare the cities, right? So compare in the sense in terms of value, right? We can compare in the different aspects of the city, right? But when we are checking the conditions, that doesn't make any sense if you use greater than, less than, right? If city equal to Hyderabad, then do something. If city equal to Chennai, do something like that. For example, weeks. If today is Monday, execute something. On Tuesday, execute some other functionality. Wednesday, execute some other functionality. So for these kind of conditions, what is the suitable control statement? Case.
Case.
case statement. Even you can achieve the same in if statement. If city equal to Hyderabad, if city equal to Chennai, you can also add same statements in if statements also. But the alternative is a case statement. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
But here you are going to check the exact value equal to. Okay. I'll create one more program on case statement. I'll take some parameter. I'm not using s- begin of block and end of block to create the frame. Type, what type we can take to handle weeks?
Character.
Yeah,
Character.
character. Again, there are two different scenarios. Week, we can also take number, right? Week number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 until 7, right?
Yes.
If it is 1, Monday,
Mm.
2, Tuesday, 3, Wednesday, 4,
Yeah.
Thursday, like that, right? So
Yes.
that depends on that. You need to define the parameter. Let's take week names. What is the type we can take?
Character or weakness.
Character.
Length.
Character.
15, 12.
What is the maximum length we can take?
Answer.
Let's take 20. Okay. Let's take 20. All week names are within 20 only, right? Not
Yes, sir.
greater than 20. Here I want to show one more thing. Instead of taking parameter, you can also use variables. So how can you, let's try with the variables now in if case statement. Okay. You can also take parameter. What I am doing here? Here I have defined a variable. I have defined a variable and passing parameter value to variable. What I am doing? I have defined a variable called LV underscore week and passing whatever the value available in parameter to variable. So why I am using this data statement? So this is called inline declaration. Inline declaration. This is little advanced syntax. So we call this as inline declaration. Did we define the variable anywhere?
No, sir.
Check the syntax. So usually how to define data
LV
LV
underscore
underscore week type
type
C
length.
length
Yeah.
20, right? And LV underscore week equal to some value. I'm passing whatever the value available in the parameter like this, right?
Yes.
But using inline declaration concept, you don't need to define it explicitly. You can directly use this using data statement, and within the brackets use the variable name equal to so what I am doing here, it is defining as well as passing the value
Well,
to variable. There is some static noise. Now check the condition case. What is the syntax? Case, the variable or work area name. Here in this case, you can take parameter or
Value
variable.
underscore.
You can also take variable, but because we are moving the same value to the variable, right? You can also take variable. Wake and case in between when when Monday.
Monday.
Since it is character type data, I'm using single quotes. If it is number type, I don't need to use these single quotes. When Tuesday. Like that. When all the above statements are false, when others.
That
Okay. So here we are just using write statement, but in general, we execute some functionality. Any that can be a loop, read, or anything. Okay. First, we need to learn the basics, and then we go into the coding. Okay. When you check in YouTube or something, you can find different examples. But as a beginner, as a learners, right? First, we need to start from here because not everyone have having same knowledge on the ABAP, right? So we should learn from the basics, and then we'll work on the advanced topics. Is everyone clear? When Monday execute something, when Tuesday execute something, when Wednesday execute something, other than Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, execute others.
when other.
Yes.
Here equal to, you are always checking equal to. That's it. Okay. Monday execute, right? Tuesday. The relevant statement is executing. I'll enter Friday, unknown value, because we are not handling that value here, right? We kept that in others so that others will execute. Or we can use like this. When or Friday. You can also use like this or statement. And won't work here. It won't. It doesn't make any sense if you use and, right? Same value at a time we cannot have two values, right? In the variable, there will be only one value at a
One
time.
value.
If we use and, does it make any sense if you use and? When week equal to Wednesday and Friday, that doesn't make any sense, right?
Yes, sir.
If week is Wednesday or Thursday, do something. week, right? Week can be Wednesday or Thursday, do something. Okay? In if statement also you can use or, but when you are using or, right, you should be careful because if any one condition is true, it will execute it. Okay? Execute. Even if you enter Friday, this is Wednesday. So the same functionality will execute because you are using or. Okay? Clear?
Sir, here why we are using like LU underscore v, it's a variable, sir. However, we are displaying in the selection screen the parameter only.
Yeah,
Based on
yeah,
the parameter only we
correct,
are
correct.
displaying, sir.
So I am just using just to show you that we can also use variables.
Okay,
Okay? So that you
okay,
should not uh, confuse that we may need to use only parameters in the if statements or case statements. That's why
okay,
I'm
sir.
just taking it. Otherwise, it is not at all necessary. You can
Okay,
directly
sir.
use parameter name. Okay?
Okay, sir.
I'm just using just to show you that we can also use variables, not only parameters.
Parameter. Okay, sir.
And I want to show you the inline declarations. And going forward, we are going to work on inline declarations, the advanced ABAP syntax.
Okay, sir.
Till now, we are using only variables or work areas. We are using only before before using it, we are defining it, right, by using
Yes, sir.
type structure and everything.
Yes,
So
sir.
going forward, we are going to use inline declaration concept where we are going to use the variables, work areas, internal tables without defining it.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Like here itself only, sir. We like as you have said, we are in inline declaration. We can use work area, no, sir. So
Yeah.
then there is
We
no need of uh, like uh,
type
like we can
structure.
write work area name and direct that value
Yes.
in that, sir.
Yes. Yes. So like that is a little different than variable. Okay.
Okay,
So first we should have a reference structure for that reference work area. By using that
okay,
work area, we
okay,
can move that source value to target work area without defining the target
okay,
work area. I'll show you. Okay, don't confuse. I'll everything. I'll start from the beginning. Okay.
okay, sir.
When we are working with tables data, you can observe that. Okay. Is everyone clear on case statement?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So depends on the scenario, you need to choose whether I need to use if statement or case statement. Okay. So case is like very straightforward. You are always checking the exact value. Okay. But if you need to handle any amount, quantities, these kind of values, you cannot do that in case statement because we cannot use a greater than, less than, between these operators. Okay. So don't worry about any advanced syntax or anything. Okay. Don't worry about any advanced thing when we are working on the basics. Okay. Because first we need to learn the basics. So when we are working on the programs, you'll automatically understand the others. If I give you more details now, you will unnecessarily confuse. Okay. That's why I'm giving whatever required for you, the very basic things. You can automatically understand the rest of the things when we are working on the programs. If I give too much information now, you'll definitely confuse. Okay. I'll keep these basic introduction classes as simple as possible. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next one. We have other statements like loop control statements. So what are loop
For
control
loop and while
statements?
loop. For loop and while loop.
Yeah, okay. So sometimes when you are working on the programs, sometimes you may need to execute a specific code repeatedly. A specific code repeatedly. What loop statement will do? You have already observed loop statement, right?
Yes, sir.
What the loop statement will do?
It will execute one
Process
by
of
one
the
value, sir.
record.
It will loop the internal table records and executes one by one, right?
One by
Yes, sir.
one.
So it will, if there are 1,000 records, it will repeat the loop for 1,000 times and it will
1,000
Thousand
times.
times.
move record by record into work area.
Work area.
And we can process that work area record inside the loop, right? But here I might have a different scenario where I need to execute a specific set of statement repeatedly. That's not depends on the internal table records, but I want to repeat that functionality multiple times. Depends on some condition. For that specific functionalities, we can use a loop control statements. We have two statements here, do loop. So what is the need of loop control statements?
It will execute a functionality several times.
Yes, to execute the functionality repeatedly until the condition is true. Okay, until condition is true, it will execute the same functionality multiple times. So we have one loop control statement, that is do loop. So what is do loop? Do loop will execute for the given number of times. For example, do loop syntax will be like this: do n times, and end do. Within the do and end do, we can execute the functionality. Whatever the functionality you want to repeatedly execute, you are going to keep that functionality in between do and end do. Okay. Here n means you need to specify how many times you want to execute this, how many times you want to repeat this. For example, do 10 times. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So it will repeat the same functionality for 10 times. We have another loop called while loop. So the difference between do and while is do will execute for a number of times, like whatever the uh, number we give here, it will execute only those many times and complete the loop. But what is while loop? While loop
Some
will
condition.
execute until the condition is true. So it will execute until the condition is true. Once the condition is false, the loop will be terminated. Okay. But what you need to make sure, you should not give a condition which is always true, which is always true, right? Because if you give a condition which is always true, it will go into infinite loop, right? For example, you are giving a condition like sy datum equal to, sorry, date equal to sy hyphen datum. The So what about the while loop? How many times it will execute? It will execute that while loop until next calendar day, right? Until the date changes, the while loop will continue, right? That's why you need to make sure you are going to provide a valid condition in the while loop. That should not be always true. So while loop syntax will be like this. While condition and end while. And in between, we execute the functionality. Okay.
Functionality.
Let's quickly create a program on this. Do and while. For example, do 10 times and do. And in between, execute some functionality, right? Okay. Activate. Now execute how many times this should print?
10 times.
10 times. I think I have to use backslash to print every statement in the next line. So it will execute for 10 times. If you execute 100 times, it will print the same thing for, it will repeat the same functionality for 100 times, right? If you don't provide like this, if you don't provide the times, what will happen? This is infinite loop. It will execute forever, right? This is do loop. And what about while loop? I'll just comment this and create the while loop. For this, I'll define one value, one variable or parameter. I'll just define a data lv underscore value. I'm using inline declaration to define a variable and passing some 100. So now, what is the value available in this lv value variable? 100, right?
100.
Now I'm using a while loop. While, what is the syntax? While condition, right?
Condition
lv underscore value
equal to
is less than 90. Or maybe greater than 90. I'll use like this. Greater than 90 and end while. So what is the property of while loop? It should execute as long as the condition is true.
greater than
If condition is false, it should stop the while loop.
Okay.
Now in this case, we are passing value 100 and we are checking condition lv underscore value is greater than 90, then execute something. While loop. Now how many times this while loop will execute as per this condition?
10 times, sir.
Sorry?
Nine times.
9 times, right? But the value is always 100, right? We are not changing the value, right?
Greater than 19 is 100 times.
Yeah. So we are passing value 100. Now this LV value contains 100. Now it will execute forever, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Infinite loop. It's an infinite loop
Yes, sir.
because we are passing value 100 to the variable and we are checking 100 is greater than 90 or not. It is always greater than, right?
Always true. Yes, sir.
It is always true. Then it will go into infinite loop. It will execute forever. It will, it won't come out of this loop, right?
Yes, sir.
What we can do to make it stop, we'll use like this lv underscore value equal to lv
LV
underscore
underscore
value
value
minus 1.
-1.
We'll do minus 1 every time. Every time it executes, we'll do it minus 1. Okay? First time it will execute it because 100 is greater than 90. Then printing the functionality, and then what we are making here, we are making
Is
100 minus 1 and passing the updated value to same variable. Now it is
same
99.
value.
Now it is 99. Next time 99 greater than 90. Yeah, that is also true. Then it will executes. Then once again it will come here, and what it will do here, 99 minus 1, because lv underscore value always contains the updated value, right? 99 minus 1. Now it is 98. Like that, after executing 10 iterations, the value will be 89, right?
Yes, sir.
Then it fails, right? Just execute. How many times it is printing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Okay. If you change the value to 80, it should print around 20 times because it executes 20 times until the value is greater than 80. If you don't do this calculation, if you don't do this subtraction here, what will happen? Infinite loop.
Infinity.
Infinite loop. Okay. So when you are using this do loop or while loop, please make sure you are not using any infinite conditions. The condition which is always true, because your program won't complete, your the program execution won't complete. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.